Okay, this is my next Mr. Men character that always cracks me up. This time it's Mr. Dizzy. So let's get straight to it. Mr. Dizzy was, to be quite honest, not very clever. If you were to ask Mr. Dizzy what the opposite of black, he would say, the opposite of black is, pink. He lived on a house in a hill which he built himself. A not very clever house. One of Mr. Dizzy's problems was that he lived in a country where everybody else was terribly clever. Cleverland. Even the birds were clever in Cleverland. Everything in everybody Cleverland was clever. You'll never see a worm reading a book anywhere else but Cleverland. Poor Mr. Dizzy. Everything around him was so clever, it made his head spin. One morning, Mr. Dizzy was out for a walk when he met a pig. "What's big and gray and has big ears and a trunk?" said the clever pig to Mr. Dizzy. A mouse, said Mr. Dizzy. The pig laughed sarcastically at Mr. Dizzy when I'm shaking his head. Then Mr. Dizzy met an elephant, a clever elephant. "What's small and furry and likes cheese?" The elephant asked cleverly. A pig, replied Mr. Dizzy. The clever elephant laughed on his truck. "A pig!" He dropped it. "A pig, you silly old man." He went off. Poor Mr. Dizzy. Okay. Mr. Dizzy decided he didn't want to talk to anybody else that day, so he went for a walk in the woods where he knew he wouldn't meet anybody. He felt very miserable about not being clever. As he walked along, a tear trickled down his cheek. Poor Mr. Dizzy. Then, in the middle of the wood, he came across a well. Little did Mr. Dizzy know that it's a wishing well. The day was warm, so he decided to take a drink of water from the well. Mr. Dizzy drank deeply, but he was still unhappy. "I wish I could be clever," he sighed. Little did Mr. Dizzy know that. Whoever drinks deeply from the water at wishing well, his wish will come true. And Mr. Dizzy has wished he would be clever, and his wish had come true. He's clever, but he didn't know it. Not yet. On their way home, Mr. Dizzy came across the elephant and pig he had met earlier. They were telling each other about how they made Mr. Dizzy look silly by asking him a question he couldn't answer. They were giggling and sniggering about it when he saw Mr. Dizzy approaching from the wood. "Here it comes again," giggled the clever pig. "Let's ask him another question," sniggered the clever elephant. Mr. Dizzy came up to them. "Tell us," said the clever pig, trying to keep a straight face, "what's white and woolly and goes ba? Why, a sheep, of course," replied Mr. Dizzy. The pig and the elephant was so amazed. To tell the truth, so too was Mr. Dizzy. They felt very clever. It was not an unpleasant thing. "Oh my goodness," said the clever elephant. "What has 4 legs, a tail, and goes woof? How easy," replied Mr. Dizzy. "A dog, of course." The clever pig and the clever elephant could understand how Mr. Dizzy had become so clever one morning. Mr. Dizzy couldn't understand how he had became so clever in the morning. Well, we know how he'd become so clever one morning, don't we? "No, let me ask you a question," said Mr. Dizzy to the pig. "You?" grunted the pig rudely. "You asked me a question? Don't be ridiculous. There's no question you could ask me that I couldn't answer." "Really?" smiled Mr. Dizzy. "Well then, can you tell me what's fat and pink and goes a tissue, a tissue?" "What's fat and pink and goes a tissue, repeated the pig looking worried. "There's nothing that's fat and pink and goes a tissue, a tissue." nothing, eh? And he tickled, said Mr. Dizzy, and he tickled the pig's nose. A tissue, a tissue. Sneezed the pig. The hamster is you, said Mr. Dizzy. You're fat and pink, and you are going a tissue, a gosh. The clever pig looked up rather not less miserable. Oh my goodness. Mr. Dizzy turned to the elephant, who incidentally has stopped sniggering. Now, Mr. Dizzy said, let me ask you a question. What is large and Gregor's dolphin? What is large and Gregor's dolphin? Stop it! Repeated the elf, looking worried. There's nothing against large and Gregor. Stop it! Stop it! Oh, yes, there is, grinned Mr. Dizzy. There certainly is something that goes that's large and Gregor's dolphin, and he tied a knot in the clever elephant's trunk. Stop it! Stop it! Cried the elephant, who wanted to say stop it, and could talk properly with a knot in his trunk. Mr. Dizzy grinned and went home. I depose, dude, dink. That's funny, said the oh my the freak and Rugrats.
These, we have the apple tree.
You fuck.